Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of True Crime Strategic. As promised, we have the reaction to Nancy Grace's D4VD coverage part 2. We did the part 1 a couple days ago. I was really tired. I couldn't finish it, but there was so much probative information in it. I had to do a part 2 because Nancy Grace was dropping gems, literally dropping gems on this D4VD case. And we appreciate all the hard work she's doing on her channel. We appreciate all the hard work other people are doing as well. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to find what happened to Celeste, justice for Celeste. So without further ado, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I don't want to have to keep reminding you guys, but hitting that like button is very, 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 very important to the channel. It's a small growing YouTube channel. Don't be fooled by that 6 digits. Big shout out to us making 100,000 subscribers. Don't be fooled. You guys know that's small chops when it comes to YouTube, all right? In order for us to grow and get the message out and be heard, we need you to hit that like button. We'll need you to leave a comment. All right, let's jump back into this.
Analyst out of the LA jurisdiction, author of Deal Breaker. You can see her now on Peacock. Dr. Bethany, this reminds me, in a bad way, of Top Mom Casey Anthony, who actually told a jury, and it worked, by the way, that her little girl, Kelly, drowned by accident, and instead of calling 911, everybody thought it was a good idea to wrap her up in a blanket, put her in a trash bag, and throw her in a swamp.
That's right. Casey Anthony is the one that got away, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, which means nothing. Guilty as sin, but it's all good.
See, I've got a problem with that, but that's generally the same thing that's going to be argued here. I mean, it worked there.
Hey, Nancy, you do not dismember a body because the victim overdosed. You just don't. I mean, that's overkill. Something else bad happened in that house. And I've been playing in my mind with...
Right. So I'm hearing, and I haven't verified this myself, but I'm hearing that she was in fact dismembered and her head was found in a bag or something like that. This is what I'm hearing. I got to verify this for myself. Apparently the LAPD came out with this information. Somebody find it, send it to me. You know how to reach me, strategiceyes@gmail.com. But that's what I'm hearing. It has not been verified for myself. Let's keep going.
What could that bad thing have been? Was there a domestic violence incident and somebody was choking her? Is there evidence on the body? Was she gang raped? Is there semen on the body? Was she offered drugs like fentanyl or something like that, or opiates that were prescribed for somebody else? I do not believe somebody just went and murdered her for murder's sake. You do not dismember a body just because they overdosed. You call 911.
Did you know chips?
All right, we got to skip this real quick. Big shout out to Lenny23 in the building, longtime supporter of True Crime Strategic. We appreciate your continued support, man. Love to see you when you pop in every now and then. You are appreciated. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, man.
Car, and it's coming around from Burke's house. Stay with me. I'm about to go to Dr. Kendall Crowns, who is a renowned medical examiner, has handled thousands of autopsies, but I want to follow up on who was in that home, okay? Listen to this.
Burke was in town the day the dented and covered in mud Tesla was last moved, July 29th. That same day, Burke left town with his personal assistant, Neo. After his Tesla was last moved to the spot it would later be towed from and performing in San Francisco that night. His now canceled Withered World Tour. Burke had a very small, tight-knit entourage. 2 to 4 people close to Burke appeared to be living in the mansion with Burke. Burke's previously close friend group now making efforts to appear less tight-knit. Surveillance footage from his $20,000 a month rental home shows 3 or 4 individuals who not only share the home, but regularly access his Tesla. Those individuals have not been seen together since the discovery of Celeste remains, and all have unfollowed each other on social media.
Dave Mack joining me.
That's never a good sign when everybody starts unfollowing. It's like they want to distance themselves because they have guilty knowledge, ladies and gentlemen.
Does that make sense?
Guilty knowledge. Let's keep going.
Stories investigative reporter. So Dave Mack, okay, let me understand. If nobody did anything wrong, then why is everyone running in different directions and following each other on social media? I mean, the day, and I got to go back to Fisher on this in a moment, Dave Mack, remind me to circle back to him. The last day that D4VD, David Anthony Burke's Tesla was moved, remember, you got a dead body, a little girl decomposing in the trunk. It's hotter and hotter and hotter. More and more evidence, including cause of death, COD, is being lost literally by the minute. And what are they doing? They're moving the car. Why? Because it's a fancy Beverly Hills home and Hollywood Hills home, and they know that the owners of those lots are going to complain if a nasty car is sitting in front of their lot for days on end. So every few days, the Tesla is being moved around with Celeste dead in the trunk. Point. If nothing wrong happened, then why did everybody living...
All right, guys, I can't find any confirmation that that body was dismembered. I'm looking right now. This is a cursory look, so that doesn't mean that it's definitive. I'm just saying I can't find it. I can't find it other than rumors. So unless somebody has proof and can send me proof, I'm going to revert back to what I do know, which is that this body is not confirmed to have been dismembered. Contrary to what Nancy Grace is saying on her show, I can't confirm it. Let's keep going.
And that home, Dave Mack, suddenly scatter to the four ends of the earth.
You know, Nancy, the biggest thing about this is exactly what you're pointing out, that the last day it was moved on July 29th, the car stays there and is not moved again until it's towed away. But Burke and his friend, Bolt, he's in San Francisco performing that very night. He's got his agent or his assistant with him, the guy that's always with him. They've called him, anyway, they're gone. And then after the body is found, David Burke continues on, Nancy. Now, the rats begin to flee, but Burke is acting like nothing happened. Think about it. This is his car. A body's been found. He knows who it is, but he's still doing his thing.
And look, this is why what makes me think that this guy is guilty. And I really appreciate for this guy saying this, because this is a girl that you loved, I would assume, that you obsessed about. Like, you could tell he had an obsession with her, and she's found gone. Whether it was in your car or it was on the other side, or it happened at her house, or it happened in a hospital from natural causes, you would be heartbroken. But she's gone and he doesn't care. He continues to do his concerts. He doesn't give official statements saying, these people have publicists. Like, he could have said it in a way that does not implicate him that he was in a intimate relationship with her. He could say, this was a longtime friend of mine's, and I'm very sorry that this happened. I'm going to take some time off to kind of like mourn this friend. Like, he said nothing. He just kept going. He stopped his performances because a lot of the venues stopped booking him, like canceled his performance. Like, they didn't want a guy who was suspected of possible murder performing at their venue. That's why he started losing money. People stopped going to his shows and venues start canceling his tours. And that's why he stopped, not because of Celeste. Let's keep going. Hit that like button, please.
He didn't cancel the tour when she was identified, Nancy. The tour was canceled for him. He wanted to keep moving on like nothing happened.
Yep.
They're acting like children in every bit of this. And when you think about it, Burke is 20 years old. He was homeschooled. He was sheltered, raised in a church choir. It makes no adult sense, but maybe it makes sense to somebody who's got the maturity level of a 12-year-old.
Oh.
Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us, psychoanalyst and author. Dr. Bethany, everyone scatters to the four corners of the earth, but then it's followed up by unfollowing each other online.
Right.
I find that a step too far, not to have some sort of implication.
That's right. I mean, they are definitely trying to distance themselves from each other. And, in that world, instantly when somebody unfollows you, and it's so easy to track. I would wonder with this group, who knows what about the other person? Did one person see another member of the house supply drugs? Did one person see another person abuse Celeste and not call 911? All that drug paraphernalia, Nancy, I'm very interested in that. Were the opiates in the room of the patient for which the opiates have been prescribed, or were they scattered around the house? Was the house neat or messy? Did it look like a frat house, a crack house, or was it kept neat? Was all the drug paraphernalia in one place, like people were just doing it recreationally, or was it scattered
let's go to
around
Steve Fisher on
like
that.
a mess?
Steve Fisher, where were the drugs? And let me also point out, Steve Fisher, well, we learned this from you, LAPD had already searched the home. Now, they haven't mentioned finding drugs or drug paraphernalia. That does not mean they didn't find it. But by the time you searched it, where did you find the drugs?
So there was several different bottles of them, and one, being in a living room table that was kind of like a where they did all the streaming from, is accessible there, and then also in the bathrooms. So I think there was 3 different opiate prescription bottles, and so they were accessible. They weren't locked up or anything like that. They were accessible to anybody in the house.
Okay, and you're speaking legally right now in response to Dr. Bethany Marshall, and you're right, Steve. The fact that they were in various locations, those doors were not locked. Anyone would have had access to them. But, isn't it true, Joanna Nieves, veteran defense attorney, that under the law, and this is a jury charge, a jury instruction that will be read to a jury, in this case, if there ever is one, says that the jury can take into account behavior before, during, and after the incident, which means a jury could take into account that very oddly, very uncharacteristically, all of D4VD, David Anthony Burke's friends that normally live together, that hang out together every single day and night, that park their cars there for months on end, they all scattered to north, south, east, and west and unfollowed each other. That can be taken into account, and it can be argued on closing that that is a guilty conscience. You know something bad went down. You know about it, so you get the hell out of Dodge. Can't that be argued by a prosecution?
Yes, this could be an indicator of consciousness of guilt, but what we have to keep in mind is that something bad did happen. There was a dismembered body in a trunk. So they are likely trying to distance themselves from the fact that someone tried to conceal a body, and there is a knowingness around that. But the point still remains that we can't prove yet whether this was the cause of death was actually a murder and then the concealment of the body.
Right. Wow, this is good stuff, man. This is wow. Let's keep going. And guys, please hit that like button, support the channel. Let's get some engagement in that chat, guys. Let's get some good conversations going. I know it's early in the morning. We're usually not live this early. I've been live all morning. I just came from a Patreon only live, so make sure you go over to Patreon, check that out. We did a video on Sudan. I broke down the whole Sudan conflict, and then we went over some of the most horrible atrocities you've probably ever seen in your entire life on the Patreon, because we can't do that here on YouTube. We'll be demonetized, age restricted, and banned the whole 9. All right, so we did that on Patreon. Go check out the Patreon. But now we're here with you on YouTube, going over the business of the day, which is giving a voice to the voiceless and trying to get some justice for Celeste. So please hit that like button, support the channel, and let's get the engagement going inside of the chat so we can get in that algorithm. Let's keep going.
Bombshell first on Fox. There is no COD, cause of death, as of tonight. Now, with all of this in mind, straight out to Dr. Kendall Crowns joining us, as I've mentioned, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, and star of Mayhem in the Morgue. Dr. Kendall Crowns, I've waited on a lot of toxicology reports, as have you, to get an official cause of death. Toxicology reports are needed in a case where you can't look at the body, either under the microscope like you or with the naked eye like me, and say, oh yeah, she was stabbed dead. Oh yeah, she was bludgeoned dead. Oh yeah, this is a GSW gunshot wound. you have to have toxicology when you can't overtly see what the COD is, right? But in all of my history, I don't recall it taking this long. Is this the death knell? Does this mean toxicology is not revealing a cause of death?
Well, it can be the fact that it can take up to 8 to 10 weeks to get good toxicology testing done, especially in a severe decomp. She was in that trunk for several weeks. Her decomposition processes could have caused her blood to dry up and other tissues to not be available. And they may be relying on liver and muscle to get their toxicologic testing done.
Which is not going to be as accurate for all the type of drugs that she could possibly have been ingesting as opposed to having like a fresh sample. So this is very difficult, man. And I'm telling you guys, I think this body degraded so much, they're not going to get much forensics from this body, but let's keep going.
When they have to rely on these two solid organs, the toxicology lab has to grind them up and homogenize them, making them into a liquid so they can test them. And this can add even more time to it.
Okay, just stop right there. Stop right there. Stop. Dr. Kendall Crowns, look, everybody on this panel accepts that you're smarter than us. Can you please dumb me down? I don't know what you just said. What? Grind it down for a what test? What?
So when you have no blood left to test from, and all you have left is solid organs, you can collect muscle and liver at the time of autopsy. Mm-hmm. That is sent to the toxicology lab, and they put it in basically a blender, and they make it into like a
paste,
a slurry or a smoothie of this tissue, and then that way they're able to
Doc, you ain't have to say a smoothie. A smoothie of this tissue? Oh, gosh.
Extract the liquid to put it into the machines to do the toxicology testing, because the toxicology machines that do the testing can't use solid organs. So it has to be liquefied in some...
Zenith Black said that this... no disrespect, Zenith. We love you. We appreciate you being here. But you said that this 13-year-old girl was his muse. I think what you meant to say, with all due respect and love, is that she was his victim. He's a nasty pedophile, in my opinion, that is. But let's keep going.
Way. And by doing that, it takes the process
longer. You know what? I just want to
digest
what you just said, because of all of the prosecution's investigations I've had, which I can't count. I've never heard it put just quite like that. You're saying that Celeste's liver, her dried up liver, is put in a blender and blended until it's liquefied so that some machine somewhere can run a test on it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, Nancy. That's how it works. And this guy's got a skeleton behind him. I want one. Let's keep going.
Forward. After Celeste's liver is liquefied in a blender, then that is put into a what?
It depends on the toxicology lab, but they usually use
Centrifuge.
Like a GC mass spectrometry, which is gas chromatography mass spectrometry machine, that then can look at drug levels within that slurry of tissue.
So you use a mass spectrometer to look at. Oh, here's another one. If you put a dried organ into the blender, as you call it, and you blend it, you still have a dry organ. How does it become liquefied?
They add certain fluids to it to make it more liquefied. I don't know specifically what they add, but it's
like
probably
what?
Normal saline. Probably most likely normal saline, so it helps liquefy it and doesn't add to the toxicology or decrease the toxicology.
Okay.
Of course, there are charts that are available.
That newly formed liquid, which is dried liver, and...
Why is Nancy like stuck on the... liver smoothie? Like, okay, Nancy, we get it. It's kind of like rubbing you the wrong way. I get it. All right, guys, hit that like button. Please support the channel. Let's fast forward a little bit.
You have illuminated a lot, Dr. Kendall Crowns. So you're telling me that no matter how long the body is there, if you can get a liver or some other organ,
They say Nancy hungry. Y'all crazy.
suitable organ, you can use that to get a tox screen, toxicology, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And at the beginning, at the outset, you said, did you say 8 or 11 weeks to get that tox screen back?
About 8 to 10, but yes, about 2 to
8 to 10.
2 months.
So,
to
okay. Dr. Kendall Crowns, you heard Dr. Bethany Marshall talking about how, what if there were sex games? What if there was a strangulation game, an asphyxiation game going on? All that evidence on her body, just theoretically, if it existed, is gone because her body has been decomposing for so long. In the trunk, would you expect to find bruising? Would you be able to find it? Let's just pretend she died on September 7th.
And she's, so yes, even though the body's decomposed, you can still find physical evidence like bruising, stab wounds, gunshot wounds, things of that nature. Even if they've completely mummified and their skin's hard as a rock or dried hard, you can still notice the wounding patterns. You can still find bruising and then cut into that dried leathery skin, peel it back and find hemorrhage in the subcutaneous tissue or the fat underneath. And the other thing you can look for is fractures of the bones. So even if all the tissue is decomposed away, you can still look at the bones and find fractures.
Okay, I don't know if I've told you tonight yet, Dr. Kendall Crowns, but you're brilliant. But I've got another fact to plug into your equation. Steve Fisher, I just pretended Celeste was dead or killed September 7. But you have information based on you combing the neighborhood to get video and more. You have information that she was in the trunk a lot longer than the day before the car was found.
Right, and we all know that, so we don't even have to pretend like it was the September date that Nancy's saying. You know, she's been in that car for months, and I don't believe, and I'm not the doctor, that's a doctor, and I'm not going to question the doctor, because I'm an expert in my own right when it comes to investigations as an active duty detective. And so unless you have credentials to question me, I'm going to say the same thing. So I'm going to give all deference to that doctor. But I think she gave him a scenario of if it was September. But in all actuality, she was in there for months. So I would rephrase that question to that doctor and say, doctor, would you be able to make all of these determinations? Some of them you definitely would be able to make, stabs, gunshots, stuff like that. But would you be able to tell strangulation and stuff like that if somebody has been in a trunk, a humid, extremely hot environment with bugs, maggots, the whole nine, you know, and you're decaying that entire time? Mind you, you know, the acid in your stomach, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach has now eaten through the wall lining, and it's this whole soup that you're laying in, this soup of bile and digestive fluids and blood and all the other secretions that your body makes. Broken bones, you probably be able to tell, but like we're talking about soft tissue stuff like strangulation, where you're basically compressing on soft tissue for the most part. You know, there might be a bone like that hyoid bone in there that you might disturb or damage, but for the most part, we're talking soft tissue. We're talking about compressing the veins and arteries in your neck and the trachea and all that good stuff. You know, will you be able to tell that if this girl has been in that trunk all this time decaying? I'm just not sure. And will you be able to get back? I mean, there's some drugs that never leave your system. There's some drugs, some compounds, etc., that they could dig you up in the grave 20 years from now and still detect traces of those compounds in your body. But there are also a lot of drugs, especially these designer R drugs, what do you call them? The date R drugs. I don't want to say it because I want you to go crazy on me. But the drugs that the bad guys give you so they can take advantage of you, they put it in your cup and all that good stuff. Those type of drugs are actually designed to leave the body relatively quickly because they're designed for that kind of stuff. So what if those were the type of drugs that were given to her? We would not find that because it already decay. So I'm very skeptical on how much these scientists are going to be able to get from her body. I'm very skeptical. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so we have video evidence of the car being moved. That's about on July 29th. And even if we didn't have that, we still have the parking enforcement officers that took photos, going back 2 weeks before the car was towed. So she was in that for quite a while, but definitely on or before July 29th.
Well, I'm telling you, I believe that that's her in that photo that we have found at a D4VD concert August the 4th. Straight back out to Luke Kenton joining us.
All right, pause real quick. Just say welcome to Renee Thomas. She says she just subscribed to the show. We appreciate you. Welcome to the family. If you're new here, I'm an active duty special victims detective, and this is what I do on my free time, which is not a lot of time that I have. So this is one of my passions, coming on here on YouTube. So thank you for joining us and for supporting the channel. If anybody else is new to the channel and has recently subscribed, definitely let us know inside the chat so we can shout you out. Want to make sure everybody knows that you're here supporting us and you're new to this family. Let's keep going.
Senior investigative reporter at DailyMail.com has been on the story from the beginning. I know you're familiar with the August 4th photo with either Celeste or a Celeste lookalike wearing her jeans and her black tube top up in the balcony that is reserved for friends and family of D4VD, aka David Anthony Burke. That was August the 4th, was it not, Luke Kenton?
It was August the 4th, yes. The investigation that was done around that video, it was claimed at least that wasn't Celeste depicted. We know David hung out with a number of other individuals who bear some slight resemblance to Celeste. But on the subject of last known contact, a couple of sources close to Celeste who went to school with Celeste said that even though she was missing for a year or so, she continued contact with friends, and that contact cut in either late June or early July. It's my understanding that that form of contact was message based, so there's no way of verifying who was sending those messages, but her phone was at least active until that point, according to two sources.
So Luke Kenton, that's really interesting, and not just interesting, it could be probative. You're saying that her friends, her old friends, before David Anthony Burke, quit hearing from her at the latest in, did you say mid-July?
Wow.
It was late June to very early July.
I think when she stops communicating with her friends, because there was no break. There's no, oh, we're going to snitch you out that you're dealing with David and he's much older than you, or we know where you are, so we're going to tell the authorities that you're missing and where you are. Because remember, I believe that the family only reported her missing. This is my opinion. I have no evidence to back this up. It's my opinion on an opinion-based show. I believe the family only reported her missing in order to not have Child Protective Services breathing down their necks, because if she's just missing, there is no Child Protective Services investigation. It's just a police matter. And why do I believe that? Because she returned home multiple times and they never communicated with police that she was no longer missing. Like, if the family really cared, then she was reported missing in February, March. Then when she comes back several more times, at least 4 to 6 times that she returned, 4 to 7 times, excuse me, that I can recall that she returned home. They never updated the police that she was missing or she was returned or whatever. They just let it be what it was. I think they can't get in trouble that she's not going to school, that she's off the grid if they report her missing. It's like they did the bare minimum of their due diligence. So that being said, I wholeheartedly believe that I lost my train of thought. That's all good. Before we jump back into this, and it might come back to me, I just want to give a quick shout out to Shelly, who says she just found the channel. She said hello. And Bori Bella 107 PR, who says she subscribed yesterday. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, guys. It's early in the morning. Maybe I'll get my train of thought back sometime soon. Let's keep going. It was going to be a good point too. Like, I was feeling that one. I was like working up to it, and it was like, bam, lost the plot. Let's keep going.
Which is what I was told
Early
by one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we go back
Now,
and listen to what he has to say. It probably might remind me.
So there's no way of verifying who was sending.
Oh, okay, that's what I was going to say. So the reason why I feel like she may have been ended at that time is because there's no evidence that any of these friends were were in a bad space with her. None of these friends were a threat to her situation. Yes, she just cut off contact. And people her age don't do that. Part of living this lifestyle and messing with a D4VD is for you to be able to get social points for it. Social satisfaction. By telling your friends the great life you're living, by being seen on TikToks and Discord videos with this budding megastar. By being able to tell your friends, look, I was in a Lamborghini yesterday. Look at pictures of it. Tell your friends, look, I was drinking. Look, I was doing drugs. Look, I was, doing naughty stuff. They want to report all this stuff to their peers because it gives them social capital. So for her to drop off the face of the earth and not be able to get that social capital or social recognition, but I like capital better because you could spend it and trade it or whatever, but social recognition definitely. For her to drop off the face of the earth and not be able to get that social capital, you know what that means? That means she's probably not here. It means something's wrong. Something's not right. So I think that it's safe to say that when we see that break in her normal routine, it's probably because that's when she lost her life. And that would mean she was in that trunk or somewhere else. She didn't have to just be in that trunk from day one. But she was basically decomposing for a very long time, ladies and gentlemen, a very long time.
Those messages, but her phone was at least active until that point, according to two sources.
So, Luke Kenton, that's really interesting, and not just interesting, it could be probative. You're saying that her friends, her old friends, before David Anthony Burke, quit hearing from her at the latest in, did you say mid-July?
It was late June to very early July, which is what I was told
Early
by one of those.
Now, regarding that video, the video that was turned into an isolated photo of who many believe to be Celeste in that special friends and family booth above D4VD, David Anthony Burke, you said some people are saying that's not Celeste. Who is saying that's not Celeste?
That was actually reported, I believe, by TMZ, and the information that came from that report was that it was individuals close to individuals with knowledge of the matter said it wasn't Celeste. I haven't been able to verify personally one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like Celeste to me, man. But people saying it's this doppelganger girl that was his super fan. And he did apparently have a few lookalikes that was surrounding him. That was his look right there. That's what he liked. The big hair, caramel skinned Latinas. That's his thing. But I think that's Celeste. I think that is Celeste, but I could be wrong. Big shout out to Melanie Leonetti, who said, I subscribed yesterday too. All right, welcome. Thank you so much. Like I said, I love to hear when people find the show, subscribe to the show. Don't just be a secret ninja subscriber. You know what I mean? Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're here. Get in that comment section and contribute. And lastly, we have almost 300 people watching the stream. Please hit that like button, support the channel. Let us know that we are appreciated. Let the algorithm know that we're appreciated. Screw what we feel. Who cares? The algorithm is what matters, so we can get out there and be seen by a wider audience. You know what I also noticed? But I'm still going to do it. Every time I say subscribe, I always lose 3 or 4 people. I'll have, we had 260 something. And then I said, hit the like button, guys. And then they disappeared. That's weird. But it happens every time. So I wonder if that's a psychological thing. When you ask people to subscribe, some people get turned off and it's no, I'm out of here. Which is fine, because that means you weren't going to be a supporter of the show anyway. Or if that's a YouTube thing, I don't know, a technical thing. I don't know. That's very interesting. I like the psychology of people. I like studying behaviors of people. But anyway, let's keep going.
But I agree with you that she certainly resembles Celeste. But again, there are a few people in and around that circle that do that are of Hispanic heritage and do slightly resemble Celeste in some ways. Hard to know definitively.
Luke Kenton, you're saying that people close to D4VD, David Anthony Burke, he calls that David, people close to Burke say, oh no, that's not her. Is that correct?
That's my understanding of...
Yeah, but why should we believe people close to Burke? Why should we believe those folks? I mean, I thought that was verified that the girl came out and said, no, that's me. That's what I heard. But I never spoke about it because I can't verify it for myself. But I think I saw it like somewhere on TikTok where the girl came out and said, that's me. But why are we listening to people close to Burke? You can't trust any of these people. They have an agenda to protect Burke because Burke is going to be the source of their income. That's what happens with these megastars. They don't just feed themselves. They feed hundreds of people. They have staff, they have friends, they have family, all relying off of them for support. You really can't trust anything that ever comes out of any of their camps when they're being alleged of something untoward. Let's keep going.
Somebody else's reporting. Where my reporting is concerned, yeah.
So whenever I put a witness on the stand, I judge their credibility, their veracity. I consider the source. So if my source on that is, and I agree with you, Luke, that seems to have come from within D4VD's camp. They're going, oh no, that's not her. All right, that and $1 will buy me a cup of coffee at McDonald's.
See, me and Nancy thinking alike. Appreciate you, Nancy. Just calling out the obvious, man. Like, why are we believing these people? Big shout out to Tara Kane. Thank you so much for your kind words. Do appreciate you. Let's keep going.
No, I'm not buying what somebody in that camp says. No. But we know that, for instance, the FBI, for Pete's sake, Target even has the greatest surveillance video. That video and that photo can be used and enhanced to determine, is it really Celeste? Why do I care this much? Because if it is Celeste, that puts her alive on August the 4th. So,
right. But you know what, though? Kayla says it right. She says that those same people said that Celeste was 21. Why are we listening to these people?
That weighs into it. What does it weigh into? It weighs into what? I'm asking Dr. Kendall Crowns. That was a big roundabout. You have a lot of those in Great Britain. A big roundabout. Back to Dr. Kendall Crowns. If I can place her alive at, as Luke was saying, at the beginning of July, if she was dead then, and that's not Celeste in the balcony, can I get a COD on her body? You said even a month.
So people are asking like if Celeste was mixed. Listen, when you go down to South America, you're going to see people of various different shades. Because the indigenous Aztec type folks, like the indigenous folks, they're brown skinned, they're copper skinned. They're not black like me, like African, but they're copper skinned. All right, their heritage is from a jungle atmosphere with a lot of sun, so you're gonna need some type of melanin in your skin. And then you have the more Spaniards, the conquistador descendants, and those are the people who are gonna be very, very, very fair skinned, like Nancy Grace and like this doctor here. So she has no black in her that I am aware of. She is just a more tonal South American person of South American heritage. Celeste. I believe she's American, but I mean from South American heritage. But don't be fooled into thinking that, you know, all Spanish people are, you know, white and like these Caucasian folks who are on the screen right here. That's not the truth. You know, you're going to see some dark-skinned folks that have no African in them. But remember, we're human beings. We are how we look based off of our heritage and the region that we grew up in. I'm of African descent. I have Spanish in me, but I'm of African descent, and my people were in the desert, the Sahara Desert. So you have to be dark-skinned so that the sun does not destroy you. If you take a Caucasian person, you just put them in the desert, they're going to get skin cancer. So that's why I had the melanin. The melanin is anti-skin cancer medicine, all right? And when you're down in the Caucasian people are in a more northern region, and the sun, you get sunny days, but the sun is less direct as in near the equator. So you are not going to have melanin in your skin because you don't need it. You don't need it. But these South American folks, they're by the equator, and so they have, in many instances, darker skin, and that's why Celeste looks that way. She doesn't have any black, she doesn't have any secret black daddies. Mommy wasn't running around with the BBC. That's just the reality of how people look in South America. Let's keep going.
Me can reveal bruises once you cut into the bruise and look at the subcutaneous tissue. That's a big word for under the skin. Even on a mummy, you can find that?
Yes. I mean, you can still look at the tissues or the skin surface, even if they're dried and mummified, and still find injuries, gunshot wounds, stab wounds, bruises, all still are there. You just have to kind of change your thinking on what you're looking at because of the decomposition process. If she was still alive in July, that would be August and early September. She'd only been missing for about a month or dead about a month. She probably wouldn't even be mummified at that point. She would just probably be bloated, green, and with skin slippage and stuff oozing out of every orifice. But we could still, that would even be easier than a mummified body to find the injuries. The problem is actually the dismembering could disrupt a lot of the injuries you would be looking for, especially with a strangulation if they've cut her head off and disrupted all the neck musculature.
Oh boy, it's terrible. I pray to God that didn't happen to that little girl, man. Please, please, please. I hope they didn't dismember her. Unbelievable.
Holidays are just around.
All right, we're going to skip this a little bit, get it out of here. All right.
That's non-refutable, so beginning, and it seemingly doesn't matter to a lot of people what Fisher has absolutely dug up. That's non-refutable so far. Conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories abounding online as to what really happened. Listen.
The David and Celeste thing is the most obvious Hollywood satanic ritual I've ever seen.
That actually hurt my ear. My ears are bleeding. And that is from @SupremeTings on TikTok. There's more. Listen.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest, gotta be honest with y'all, bro. The David situation is all a PR stuff, okay? You guys.
Why would you listen to somebody who looked like this guy? Says the dude that has a crochet tinfoil hat on his head. All right, let me take this off if I want you to take me seriously. Look at this dude, but let's keep going.
We're all falling for it. Do you not notice all of us literally singing in the back of my mind? Like, bro, it's a literal PR stunt. He hit #1 on iTunes.
Okay, he lost me with the Cruella hair right there. I'm out. No, I'm not putting him on the stand. With another crazy theory, and that is from @Light, L-I-G-H-T, Son Zane on TikTok. These conspiracy theories are as old as time. Are they real? No. But
hold on. I want to get on Nancy Grace. The aliens did it. Nancy, clip this, put me on your show. The aliens did it. It was the aliens. Let's put the hat back on. The aliens did it. All right? Let me stop. This is not a joke. We want justice for Celeste. Let me stop playing around. Let's keep going.
If you remember the Scott Peterson case, the zany conspiracy theories were actually used at trial. Yeah. Here's a great one. An O.J. Simpson crazy, zany conspiracy theory.
So I, without a shadow of a doubt, believe that OJ did not kill Nicole or Ron, but it was his son Jason, and here's why. So evidence-wise, there's about 15
Bro, I'm black, and even I could tell you, OJ did it. Let's keep going.
fingerprints they could not trace back to OJ. There was also a cap there that had dog hair on it, but OJ didn't own a dog, but Jason did, and pictures have been proven to know that that cap is Jason's. They just failed to get any kind of DNA evidence off of Jason. He's also had a prior aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against one of his ex-girlfriends.
Woman, Simpson, the O.J. Simpson, Orenthal James Simpson, committed double murder. Quit trying to rope in his son who's out minding his own business the night of the murders. Yep. That is from @Zoe_GermX. Okay, let's see. Crazy conspiracy theories that the defense will absolutely use. How about Brian Kohberger?
Oh, boy.
Kohberger is innocent. I told you Kohberger was innocent. So I called my source, 1 of 5, and I asked, if I had to prove him innocent, where would I look?
What's his source?
Said, look at Enon, Touch DNA, DoorDasher. And the
what? She said she called her source. You think she talking about somebody who's a part of the case? Her source is her best friend in their house crocheting strategic a new tinfoil hat. Get out of here. Let's keep going. Hey, yo, people watch this stuff. She probably got like a 10 million subscribers.
Neighbor Enid was never put on the suspect list when he had blood on his door. And he authored those other handles. It's also a known drug house. So only a sophisticated drug ring would do slice and dice like that.
So much of that is not true. What known drug house? What is she saying? That's from Berries and Branches on TikTok. Zany conspiracy theories that you would think.
So Shelly said her source is her dog. Yo, hit that like button, guys. We got over 300 people watching this right now. Hit the like button.
Don't amount to a hill of beans, but that can be used by an adroit defense attorney. As a matter of fact, Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter who investigated the Delphi double murders with me, wasn't there a zany conspiracy theory that the Odinists killed Libby and Abby, the two little girls found?
That one threw me for the loop, like the whole Odinist thing, like the Odinist. I can't even say because I've never heard it before until this trial. Like the whole ritual and sacrifice thing, that threw me for a loop. I was like, are they serious with this? Like for real? They like sacrificing the children in there? Like
that Trestle Bridge, Odinists that worship Thor and the other Norse gods. The defense actually tried to bring that into evidence, and the judge stopped them. Remember that?
They fought hard to get that Odinism brought into this, to claim it was a ritualistic killing of Abby and Libby. I mean, it was amazing that we actually had to dig into this and
all right, hold on here. Somebody, there we go.
Go through just papers and encyclopedias of this Odinism. And, it was just another red herring. But, yeah, they tried, and the judge listened.
Complete red herring. And they actually tried to use the zany conspiracy theory at trial. I mean, there's millions of them. Remember when JonBenet Ramsey was found dead?
Yeah, that was a lot of conspiracy.
So many people piled on that it was the brother Burke, who was like this big around. Day one, I said, it's not Burke, but did that stop the conspiracy theories? And that poor boy was hounded the rest of his life. Now he's a young adult male. But can you imagine the cost, the price, these conspiracy...
I think the mother ended JonBenet, to be honest with you. I think the mother did it. And then everybody covered it up. They're a rich family, prominent family. They covered it up. I think the mother did it. It's crazy. It's my opinion, though. Whatever. Kohlberger pled guilty, so nobody should be here saying, oh, he's innocent. He pled guilty. So the same way we accept the guilty plea from Stephen Stearns, well, Kohlberger was first. And when Kohlberger pled guilty, I said to this audience, I said, yo, this is the archetype for the guilty plea that Stephen Stearns is going to give us in a couple of weeks. And whatever happened, like 2 weeks later, Stephen Stearns pled guilty. Got the same deal that Kohlberger got. I told you guys that, and it came true. Let's keep going.
Conspiracy theories, as crazy as they are, carry on Lady Justice. She has to pay the bill for all of that. We are waiting on that COD, and we are waiting for justice in the death of a little girl, Celest Rivas.
Yes.
If you know or think you know anything about her death, please contact LAPD 213-486-6890.
All right, we'll stop it here. Leave that on the screen. Guys, you guys are amazing, man. Thank you for joining me for part 2. We had to get this one out the way. We got a lot of shows coming up for you guys. And guys, by the way, I've actually, through great sacrifice, because I had to forego taking all the vacations I could have taken this year, to have that time available to take vacation now. I've actually finagled it and sacrificed that I'm going to have 2 weeks off later on this month. So I have another week of work this week coming up, and then that's it. The good thing is, because I'm taking 2 weeks off, I don't have to catch cases for all next week, because why would they make you catch a case and then you're off on vacation? You can't work the case. Cases are time sensitive. So I don't have to catch any more cases come this week when I come to work. And after this week that's coming up, I'm off for 2 weeks, for 20 days, because our vacations are 10 days, for 20 days. So we're going to be putting out a lot of work into this channel, a lot of work, a lot of upgrades to the way that the show looks. Like we're going to work on backgrounds and stuff like that. A lot of content we're going to be covering. A lot of it. And what I'm going to be focusing on is not trying to catch up with the big dogs and cover cases that have a lot of notoriety. You guys know we don't care about that on this channel. We're going to be covering a lot of obscure cases that nobody knows about. Cases that might just get me 1,000 views, but I don't care because I want to get the word out. I want to get the word out. So look out for that. And it'd be nice if you support it too. We're going to be covering people who need to get their voices heard, and you should consider watching that, not for me, but for the victims. That's just my opinion, so that you could go out there, you could share with your friends and family, you could do your own research. If you're a content creator, you could cover it too. And now those stories that are just as important as Celeste and other stories like that, they can get notoriety too. Because what happened to Celeste is messed up. But the only reason why we're talking about it is because the person we think did it to her is a budding star. But what about that person who lives in a poor community in Philadelphia whose dad is a loser and they did that to them? Don't they deserve to have recognition too? Don't they deserve to have their voice heard as well? I think they do. I think that Celeste deserves justice, and every other child out there deserves justice as well. So we're going to be covering these less known stories, and certainly we're going to give you guys the best we can give you, and then when the vacation is over, it's back to work. So guys, hit that like button on your way out the door. We do appreciate you. I will come back and do another live in a little bit, probably later on tonight, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Let me see, make sure I'm not ignoring anybody who's showing us love. All right, we're good. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic. Let me get this outro. Let's get the outro loaded up. All right, let's try that again. See you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.